As our world changes, we'll keep you up to date with the latest information. News Talk KVNU 102 FM 610 AM.
KVNU News Time is 5:05. I'm Bill Walter with this news update brought to you by Whole Tree Care. Next week is Research Week at Utah State University. It's an opportunity for USU to showcase a series of events scheduled throughout the week that will highlight research, also accomplishments of USU students and faculty. Also, it will give the public a chance to know some of the research that has been done and is being done right now and is scheduled to be completed. On KVNU's For the People program this past Wednesday, Daniel Lenhart, program assistant with USU's Office of Research, was asked how they decide what to spotlight each year.
We highlight what the authors, what our faculty has written books about this year.
Oh, wow.
And every year we get interesting new topics. So every year our faculty writes books about new things. So we're able to see brand new topics every single year.
Lenhart said research is important not just in the university sphere, but in the public sphere as well.
Research helps impact daily decisions. It is research that helps us decide how to manage our water, how to manage our air, everything. Everything we do is impacted by research and should be impacted by research. And it is the wonderful researchers here at Utah State, both our student researchers as well as our faculty researchers, that are helping push that work forward.
A highlight of the week is a lecture, which this year will feature Dr. Ron Sims, who was instrumental in starting the Biological Engineering Department and who was the recipient of last year's D. Wynn Thorne Career Research Award. That lecture will be held Thursday, April 14th from 3:30 to 4:30 in the Merrill Kazir Library. More details available at research.usu.edu. On Thursday, the Utah Department of Health continued its implementation of the steady state response to the COVID-19 pandemic, first announced in February by Governor Spencer Cox. The health department's decision to update its COVID-19 dashboard weekly instead of daily led to its first release yesterday of data in the new format. Information is drawn from monitoring wastewater, clinic and ER visits, hospitalizations, and deaths. State epidemiologist Dr. Alicia Nolan said the pandemic is not over, but we are in a new phase. She said we have safe and effective vaccines, tests, treatments that work, and most Utahns have some immunity from vaccines or past infection. In recent tests of the state's 32 municipal wastewater facilities, an increase in coronavirus was evident in 6 of them. That includes sites in St. George, Cedar City, Moab, Bluffdale, Riverton, and Taylorsville. Since March 31st, 24,541 Utahns were vaccinated against the virus, with about 3,600 becoming fully vaccinated the last 7 days. 2,004,106 are now fully vaccinated, which is nearly 62% of the state's population. A man is in critical condition after a large piece of ice struck him on the head while climbing in the Bridal Veils Falls area of Provo Canyon. Search and rescue assisted the man just after 5 p.m. on Thursday, which police said the ice was the size of a basketball and broke free from the mountain and struck the man. KUTV reported that officials said rocks and ice continued to fall around the rescuers while they were working. There were no other injuries reported. The man was safely hoisted by helicopter and taken to a nearby hospital. KVNU weather brought to you by Napa Auto Parts. When you buy Napa Auto Parts, you're getting the best parts. If you need a new battery or wiper blades, pull into any of the 5 locally owned Napa stores. They will even help you install them. 5 locations from Preston to Providence. Partly cloudy tonight and overnight, low in the mid-30s. Partly cloudy Saturday. Slight chance of snow showers in the morning. Then a slight chance of rain and snow showers in the afternoon. Much cooler, high temperature tomorrow in the lower 50s with northwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
Men, sometimes women drop subtle hints like,
"Hey, honey, the weather sure is nice today."
Yeah, I think I'll go golfing with the fellas.
Ugh, whatever.
Sometimes we just need more direct language like,
"Honey, call Whole Tree Care to trim and clean up all those gnarly shrubs and dead, twisted branches. I want to enjoy the yard this summer, not dread it."
You know, I was thinking the same thing.
Call Hull Tree Care, 760-6587. Ask about their radio discount. They also do tree and stump removal. 760-6587.
Sean Hannity from 1 till 4 on News Talk KVNU 102 FM and 610 AM.
Hi, it's Congressman Blake Moore here. Like many of you, I grew up next to the runways of Hill Air Force Base, with the familiar sounds of freedom flying overhead. Utah's defense industry has doubled since 2015, making up 10% of our state's GDP and supporting over 200,000 jobs. As Utah's only representative on the Armed Services Committee, my number one priority has been meeting the needs of Hill Air Force Base. That means fighting for the F-35 program, nuclear modernization, and a locality pay that covers Utahns' living expenses. I want to thank our uniformed personnel and their families, as well as the tens of thousands of Utahns working to support our national defense. Your service helps America fly, fight, and win, and I will continue to advocate for your priorities in Congress. To learn more about how we've delivered for Utah's defense community, visit my website at blakemore.house.gov. Paid for by official funds authorized by the U.S. House of Representatives.
Here's Chad Norton, the lawn doctor, with a tip for your lawn.
As soil temperatures start to warm up, you'll start to see weeds germinate in your lawn, first on the edges and then spread throughout your lawn. One of those weeds will be a dandelion that each have up to 200 seeds per flower and can travel up to 5 miles and live up to 7 years. Call us and we can help control your weed problems this spring.
Call the lawn doctor for fertilizer, weed, and pest control. And if you're looking for a job this summer, join the lawn doctor team. Call 753-LAWN.
Dr. Josh Red, chiropractic physician, explains how Red River Health and Wellness can help you.
A lot of our patients end up having autoimmune conditions. This is where their immune system, rather than attacking bacteria, a virus, or other bad things, it starts to attack their own tissue. This can cause so many different issues and symptoms throughout the whole body. The biggest thing for us at Red River is to identify what's causing the autoimmune response to flare up. This could be intestinal problems, blood sugar imbalances, cortisol defects, hormonal imbalances, along with something as simple as dietary triggers and environmental triggers. One of the most common causes, too, when you have an autoimmune condition is you'll have inflammation throughout the whole body. Not every patient will have the same imbalances or the same triggers, and so we have to customize a very personalized treatment plan in order for these patients to feel better.
Schedule your appointment today at 855-55-RIVER. Red River Health and Wellness with offices in Logan, South Jordan, Springville, and St. George.
Call Red River today.
Thank you for voting Adams Wealth Advisors the gold winner for Best Financial Planner in the Best of Northern Utah competition. Understanding your family, jobs, and goals is how Adams Wealth Advisors will continue to earn your trust.
This is Craig Adams. At Adams Wealth Advisors, we are here to help you receive peace of mind whether you've done a lot of planning or a little planning. Count on our team at Adams Wealth Advisors for honesty, professionalism, and integrity.
Visit adamswealthadvisors.com or call 752-1702 to schedule a time with an advisor today. Please see adamswealthadvisors.com for more information on these recent awards.
I'm Larry Gelwicks, the Getaway Guru. Join me on The Travel Show every Saturday at 11 a.m., and I'll tell you where to go and how to get there with the best travel deals on the planet, including how to travel more and pay less, free this and free that promotions, and insider secrets on what the airlines, cruise lines, and hotels don't want you to know, along with your call-in travel questions every Saturday, 11 a.m., right here on News Talk 610 KVNU.
Hedgehog. It's time to say goodbye to humanity. Welcome to the new norm. This is your moment to be the big hero.
Bad time to say this, but I don't actually have a plan.
Welcome to the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan joining us in just a bit here. We'll be talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. This is the the biggest film opening this weekend. We also have Morbius to talk about and something called Ambulance, which kind of slid in a bit under the radar, but does have some big-ish names in it and is also directed by Michael Bay. Usually his films are, if anything, over-promoted, but in this case, Ambulance just kind of like, surprise, is in the theaters. It is playing here in Logan, and it looks to be the story of, well, here's quick, a one-day Streets of L.A. type story. Over one day across the streets of L.A., 3 lives will change forever in this breakneck thriller from director-producer Michael Bay. And it involves the story of a decorated veteran named Will Sharp who is trying to recover or trying to make money to cover his wife's medical bills. He asks for help from, it says the only person he shouldn't have, his adopted brother Danny, and who is a charismatic career criminal. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. It does star those who are familiar with the Longmire series. It does star A. Martinez from Longmire. He played the chief of the tribe that's looking to build a casino in the Longmire series. He is, as I understand it, the bad guy in this movie, so be interesting to see. You heard a little clip there as we started from the Sonic the Hedgehog 2 trailer. This is one of those rare, at least as far as early reactions, the critics and limited audience that has seen the movie already as it opened last night. Sonic the Hedgehog 2 appears to be one of those very rare things in which a sequel actually does better, where a sequel puts the franchise on the map. It happens occasionally, but Sonic the Hedgehog 2 appears to be one of those. If you remember, the first Sonic was a bit plagued by a bunch of different things. There was the initial release of the Hedgehog himself. That was, I don't remember, Andy. What was the objection there? There was something. So they unveiled what Sonic was going to look like in this film several years ago before it came out, and everyone was like, no.
It was like the eyes and the teeth.
It was creepy.
They were like, okay, we're all for like CGI, but does he have to look like something out of, a horror movie?
That was.
Wait, did A24 direct Sonic the Hedgehog? Because that doesn't look right.
It looks a little midsummery.
The sad thing is, as well as I do, people have been doing test screenings for, the longest time.
Yeah.
Which I'll be honest with you, I get it from a financial standpoint, but part of me wants to go, you know what, do your art, and if they don't like it, tough.
Yeah.
Right? But I get it when you invest, $200 million in a movie. You don't go, well, let's hope things work out.
Fingers crossed.
But that's one thing social media has done, and I actually want to talk about this in relation to some recent TV, and I can't believe I'm going to say this because it hurts my soul.
I think I know where you're going.
But, there's this backlash on Twitter, and I'm sure there's someone at the Motion Picture Studio or at the Motion Picture Studios back old by William Goldberg's office. His job is to read through all these internet comments about the talkies. Anyway, that's what I felt like I said when I said the motion pictures. By raise of hands, how many here have seen a motion picture? It's a brand new thing.
You heard of these?
I can't believe this. Can I just get up, walk out, and come back in?
It's all right. I've been having the same week.
Hey, I'm going to say that from now on. I'm just going to be like, well, what motion picture are we watching this week?
I'm having one of those weeks when I wrap up hour one on Fridays. Fridays are the more lighthearted show. Usually we've got the movie show, and if that's not an extended version, then in hour one, Bill and I just kind of talk about some more lighthearted things. I wrapped up hour one with, and another thing about you people turning left across the highway. So
yeah, I'm getting to that point. I think I'm the get off my lawn guy. But what I was going to say was that in this case, the studio saw the initial reaction to Sonic, and they were like, back to the drawing board.
Did they delay the film
I think it was delayed.
Or was it early enough they didn't have to?
I think it was early enough. It may have been delayed a little bit, but I just remember that it was brutal. It was brutal, and then...
Oh, and it was deserved. The brutal reaction was...
I think it was...
I don't know how
it was.
This is what always
It was
bugged
his
me.
teeth.
These things
That's
make
what it
through,
was. It was his teeth.
But these things make it through committees of
He had
people.
Joe Biden's teeth.
Yeah, but I mean, it also just looked weird. It wasn't even. You'd think you'd want it to look cool, but yeah,
I hear you.
But no, this always boggled me that these things get through even before a test screening. They get through committees of people, producers, the director, assistant director, actors who are starring in this thing, and no one at any point said, "Guys."
I wonder the same thing. I've thought about
how
this.
How does that happen?
A million times about the Star Wars prequels. And then I told you I saw
and no one said, George.
Somebody's like, "Oh, here they go again."
Yeah,
you just can't get through a Friday without talking. You know what? I'm going to talk about the Star Wars prequels every Friday for the rest of my life.
No, it's the greatest example of too many people just nodding and going, "Great idea, George."
They're like,
R2-D2 should have leg rockets. That's a brilliant. And the fact that they were never used before,
right?
No one will care.
He's like, what if we have the designers create these really, really tall, beefy, like kind of scary looking battle droids? Now, and just so you know, George, our thinking is
they'll speak like 2-year-olds.
Yeah, the original battle droids in the Phantom Menace. People thought they were so lame that we decided to make super battle droids because we can't get rid of them. So now we have upgrades. But let's make it this, and I think this is a brilliant idea that you came up with, George. Brilliant. And in fact, I wouldn't change anything. When these droids talk, they need to say things. They need to sound like one of the Alvin and the Chipmunks.
Yeah,
that's what we got. That's what we're going for here.
Like they're two.
We don't want menacing.
That was one of the worst. This great action scene. I don't remember which prequel it's in, but it's this great action scene. It's actually one of the better parts of any of those movies. And the battle droid's reaction, so they hear a sound that kicks off.
Hey, what that?
Yeah, he says, "What that?" And that was it. Just the whole thing.
Stupid astromech
droid. At that point, it's done. What that?
You know what I also think is funny about it too. To your point is, I'm pretty sure when George was writing this, you know how he is too. Like he's very nostalgic. So, you know, Rick McCollum comes in, the producer, who is like chief yes man.
Yeah,
and he says, "Hey George, we got you this cool Mac laptop and a screenwriting program on it." And George is like, "You know, Rick, I really would just rather have my Ticonderoga pencils and my yellow legal pads. That's what I do. And I have this box here, and when I get to a problem where I don't know what to do in the dialogue, I just pull a piece of paper out. Oh, and look, I'll show you, Rick. This one says, I got a bad feeling about this. I'll put that one back in, because now let's see what's next. Oh, look, something about a womp rat.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, what's the next one? Beggar's Canyon. If I can't figure out a place, I just say Beggar's Canyon. And then what I do is if I can't think of a character's name, what I do is, you see this? I take a little shot of whiskey, and then I take a little bit of this these little pills that Francis Ford Coppola gave me in the 70s. I think they might be expired. And I pop one of those in my mouth, and then I just come up with a name.
That's
like Baron Papanoida. What do you think?
That's also when he wrote the romance scenes.
Yeah. Yeah, so he was like, what would I do? What would George Lucas, do now?
So love has blinded you.
What would I do if I was sitting in Italy looking out the lake and I saw some soft skin? And I would say, you know what? Your skin is softer than sand, my lady.
Which is the weirdest line.
And somebody's like, wait, did George... When's the last time George had a romantic relationship? 1977.
Been a while.
Linda Ronstadt.
And Linda liked those lines. But yeah, back to the point. No one steps in and says,
I have an idea.
That's what boggles me.
But then they no longer work there.
They get fired. But who's doing that to Sonic the Hedgehog? How does this make it?
How much power does George Lucas have if the fact that he writes Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, and he's like,
another great example.
What about cool monkeys and some funky aliens? And they go, and Steven Spielberg's like, I like your idea, George.
I like where you're going with this.
Agree.
This totally fits with Indiana Jones.
He goes home and he tells Kate Capshaw, his wife, he says, oh boy, I don't know what George is doing here. And she's like, why don't you tell him? He's like, because he'll kill me.
Don't say anything.
You don't understand the power he wields.
You're already in trouble for taking the guns out of E.T.
That's right. He's going to murder me. Oh, man.
But so I was saying, setting this up, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 looks like, so again, they delay the film a little bit to fix Sonic. That's the first thing that drives that first film down. And then the first film comes out and it's just mediocre. And fans aren't that excited about it. And you have to see, this is Sonic the Hedgehog. You're making this for fans. You're not really. There's not a wider audience to really capture here.
Well, and who's the
best
fan,
you can
too?
do is not annoy a wider audience. That's how I see movies like this.
I know Sonic's popular,
now on this one they're like Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
They're going after a non-Sonic fan audience.
Well, and Jim Carrey was the bright spot of the first Sonic. Right. I can't believe I said the Sonic. He's the bright spot in the Sonic the Hedgehog universe.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right. I mean, it was
But it's a really, really short bright spot, right?
You know what makes me laugh, actually, too? Here's something to think about that fans should know. Is one of the questions, the first question I get for the last 2 years, we talked about last week, is, hey, man, when's Top Gun Maverick coming out? Or Top Gun 2? Some variation. In fact, last night...
Top Gun 2 is just easier.
When I saw Ambulance, which we're going to review today...
I'm curious about this one.
I want to call it Ambulance, but also they highlight the L.A. in it, so I want to be like Ambulance. My wife turned over to me and preview for Top Gun came on, and she goes, "When's this come out?" And she knows because she was listening. And I said, "You can leave now, ma'am."
That's it. We're seeing a marriage counselor.
That's right. I'm filing this away. The second
Grievances
question
to be returned to in a time of need.
That's right. I do have that list in my phone. No, so the second question.
So wait, when is it coming out? I've already forgotten.
May 27th, and you're fired. No, and the second question was she. Oh, see, why? That's like ripping my heart open and pouring salt inside it.
Did you see in the trailer there's a volleyball scene in the sequel?
That actually really bothers me. I'm not going to kid you.
Because they're doing that on purpose.
And there's also a scene where they sing around a piano. It's like, hey, wait, I feel like I've been here before.
It's like all the things that have been mocked about that original movie.
You know the story about Kenny Loggins in that song, right? He got him in a room with like 10 fighter pilots, and he was like, guys, I've got to write a music song for this.
Danger Zone.
And I was thinking about, and he played them some tunes, and they were like, no, man, no. And he said, what is it like when you're flying in the sky? And one guy was like, it's like a highway to a danger zone. And he was like, that's it. That's the ticket. No, I was going to tell you, though, the second question I get all the time is, hey, Andy, they made a sequel to that? And I want to say, I get it, because you didn't see it, and you don't think it's cool, and that's okay. Because I say that about every Harry Potter that's come out after the first Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Someone out there's like, oh, that's not funny. Those were successful. It's one of the best franchises of all time.
But should they have been?
Anyhow,
did we maybe not just lose our collective minds for a while there?
I'd rather watch Twilight,
because these aren't like, they don't get progressively better.
Especially these Grindin Hoots and whatever.
Although I saw
I can't think of the
Grindin Hoots.
Isn't it Grindel Snap?
Something Beasts of
Harry
the Wild
Potter and
where the wild things are.
Oh no, it's Harry Potter and the Treachery of Grindel Snap.
See, the thing is, no one knows if you're making that up. That could literally be what it's
I'm going to submit this podcast over to the press folks, and they're going to be like, that's not funny. That's not what we agreed to. No, but going back to Sonic, Sonic comes in. It doesn't, everyone uses kind of Rotten Tomatoes as the grade. People go, oh, I don't think that's very good, or they don't see it. They don't have any interest.
Fans loved it. Like it
made enough
Sonic
money.
Fans loved it.
It made enough money, made a profit to make a sequel.
Yeah,
and now it's got,
they've expanded Jim Carrey, recognizing that his little bit in the first one was very popular. They've expanded his role.
I've decided in my
trailer.
Old age that I don't really care for Jim Carrey these days. I'm going through a Jim Carrey. I don't care for you stage.
I still want to see, because I almost said Always Sunny in the Spotless Mind, but that's
Eternal
that's
Sunshine,
not
yeah.
at all what it is. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Eternal Sunshine in the Spotless Mind. I see movies like that, and there's something there that he, for whatever reason, just has not been able to tap into and make a career out of.
He's goofy, and it works when he's doing something
But
goofy.
he was like Michael Scott goofy in Eternal Sunshine, and it worked.
Yeah, and that's maybe like right on the border because it worked in Truman Show too, the Truman Show.
Yeah, where he's just like innocent doofy guy. He's not making elastic faces or going.
Yeah, and that works for Ace Ventura. I will defend Ace Ventura 1 and 2.
Oh, they're hilarious. They hold up as hilarious.
Dumb and Dumber, same thing.
Yeah.
The first one. I don't really care for The Mask. Not my cup of tea.
I didn't like The Mask either. That annoyed me.
But yeah, I don't. We'll see how it does. I think nowadays with the going to streaming and things like that, I think stuff like that also helps a movie. What I think is fascinating too. We don't have time to talk about this today, but we should talk about this on a future show. Is the number of movies that were either lost or panned that were resurrected because of streaming. That people were like, "Hey, what's this? This isn't as bad as I thought it was."
Yeah. This weekend, an example, I'm going to actually watch one that you saw in 2020. It was one of the first ones you saw that was new in 2020 after theaters opened back up in June 2020. It was all I know is it has little Franco in it.
Little Franco
Mini.
Yeah, you're talking about The Rental, I think, or not?
Is it The Rental, The Tenant?
It's the one where they give the Airbnb and it turns out to be a nightmare.
And I wanted to see that because it looked like a schlocky, kind of fun to see.
It was pretty good
Thriller.
I didn't see it again.
It hit HBO Max, so
okay.
I'll be watching that this weekend. But that's an example of a movie that I personally think movies like that would have done a lot better than they did outside of a pandemic. They weren't going to be huge blockbusters, but
no, I want to. The other thing I want to talk about. So there's a couple things
really quick. Do you think those movies will get their time?
Maybe,
because I wonder if there will be
a lot of those.
Let's go back to everything we missed in 2020 and pick back up.
A lot of those were low risk.
Okay,
and so they might be like the gems that people pop up, later on. But they were low risk theater movies.
Okay,
and they might have even just been like, the canary in the coal mine kind of thing, right?
Well, and a lot of them probably still found an outlet. I heard this is the story behind. It kind of flew under the radar, even though I actually really liked it. But Melissa
McCarthy.
Yeah, she has a kind of a heartstrings tugger called The Sparrow. And the story I heard behind that is this was actually intended for theaters as her first dramatic role, real big dramatic role. And then when they realized that just wasn't going to work, they filmed it anyway, and then they just went straight to Netflix with it.
Yeah.
So
we're going to talk about Michael Bay's new movie, Ambulance. I have been a Michael Bay apologist over the years. I think there are movies. Obviously, Bad Boys. I think Bad Boys 2, Bad Boys. I don't think he did Bad Boys for Life actually. And I think The Rock, Armageddon.
Yeah.
All these movies have like some charm to them.
The Transformers movies, except for the last 40 minutes of that fourth one.
First Transformers movie that he did. The second one's okay.
I even a defender of the third one. It's just that fight scene at the end of the fourth one is when he started to lose me.
Well, and I don't know. I'll have to look. I can't remember how many of those Bay directed. I know he ended up producing some. I think Steven Spielberg told him after the second one, stop directing Transformers movies. He does. He's got a very, love him or hate him as a person too, because I know there's a lot of unsavory things that I've heard about Michael Bay over the years.
Seems like he's not invited to a lot of parties.
No, he's very stylistic. He's got and I'm going to tell you right now, I never thought in a million years that I would tell you to go see Ambulance.
Really?
That's my teaser, because Ambulance was actually really. It's probably one of the most fun I've had in the theaters for a while.
I'm surprised to hear this. Teaser,
but just again, it's short. It's not 3 hours long. It's an hour and 45 minutes maybe tops.
Yeah,
it's punchy. It's got it's just. Yeah, it's probably one of the better action movies I've seen. Straight up action, and it's honestly the best movie Michael Bay's made in quite some time.
That's interesting.
So, and there's a lot of he actually kind of jumped the shark a little bit in it. There's a lot of references to other movies that he's done in there. Same kind of shots. You'll recognize the Michael Bay shots, but enough newness too to make it fresh. I thought it was
intrigued.
Thought it was good. It was good. And then the other thing I want to talk about to round out the show is we need to talk about, if anyone out there is watching Severance on Apple TV. They had the season finale the other night. And we also need to talk about, speaking of bad CGI, we need to talk about Halo.
Okay. Yeah.
Which pains me.
Really such an unnecessary forced error.
Because I love Halo so much. And yeah, we'll talk about it.
We'll talk about it all after these headlines with KVNU's Bill Walter.
Thank you, Jason. KVNU News brought to you by the Duck Hunter. If you have plans to travel down to the Wasatch Front this weekend, UDOT will officially launch the 2022 construction season with a bridge slide over I-80 this weekend. The interstate will be closed in both directions between Foothill Drive and 700 East in Salt Lake City from tonight at 9 p.m. through Sunday at 1 p.m. During this closure, crews will demolish the 1700 East Bridge over I-80 and slide a new bridge, which has been constructed next to the existing bridge, into place. This innovative method of bridge construction, pioneered in Utah, reduces delays and traffic restrictions for drivers. UDOT urges drivers to plan ahead and stay informed to reduce delays. The construction schedules are weather-dependent and subject to change. The Utah State Board of Education rushed to spend $10 million in bonuses for teachers and other school personnel who have picked up extra work because of staffing issues and COVID-19. The money, doled out in $100 increments for educators based on how much extra work they did, was allocated by the Utah State Legislature this year as a thank you for work in challenging circumstances. Dr. Sidney Dixon, the state superintendent of public instruction, told Fox 13 that there's a message behind it saying, "Thank you from the legislature. The extra money is welcome." According to Jay Bline with the Utah Education Association, the state's largest teachers union, the money was allocated for teachers who substituted for others when there was no substitute available. Utah has struggled to find substitute teachers as of late. And Idaho environmental officials are proposing a $1 million fine as part of a settlement agreement with Idaho Power involving pollution permits at 15 of the public utilities' hydroelectric facilities in southern Idaho. The Idaho Department of Environmental Quality announced the proposed agreement Thursday and is seeking public comments. The utility had permits from the EPA for all the facilities for decades until the federal agency determined they were not needed in the 1990s. Idaho Power in January contacted Idaho officials after determining policy changes might again require permits. Idaho Power says it's self-reported because it wants to be proactive in protecting the environment. KVNU weather brought to you by Mount Logan Laundry. Don't pay for the expense of dry cleaning when you can clean your items at Mount Logan Laundry for much less. And they're located at 5th East, 9th North in Logan, also in Brigham City at 1st East and 7th South. Partly cloudy tonight, low in the mid-30s, and then the big cool down starts tomorrow. Slight chance of snow showers in the morning. Partly cloudy with a slight chance of rain and snow showers in the afternoon. Much cooler, high temperature in the lower 50s with northwest winds 10 to 20 miles per hour. Partly cloudy, colder Saturday night, low in the lower 20s, and then partly sunny, high in the lower 40s on Sunday with a chance of rain and snow again starting on Monday. For more details on these and other stories, visit CashValleyDaily.com.
John at the Duck Hunter asks, have you ever checked the dryer vent cover on the outside of your home? It could be broken, full of lint, or worse yet, you could have an unwanted guest living in it. John suggests you check your dryer vent today. And if you can't, call John at the Duck Hunter. He'll do a visual inspection, and if needed, run a camera through the dryer vent line to see what's going on in there. For a free consultation, call the Duck Hunter, 770-4813.
We are the Duck Hunter. Breathe better, save money, protect your home. We are the Duck Hunter.
Here's Chad Norton, the lawn doctor, with a tip for your lawn.
With warmer temperatures and no snow on the ground, green grass might be here sooner than ever. We are excited to offer a new 2-service soil enrichment program to improve water retention, reduce compaction, stimulate root growth, and increase nutrient and fertilizer uptake, resulting in a healthier lawn this summer. Sign up early and get the second service half off.
Fertilizer, weed, and pest control. Call the Lawn Doctor at 753-LAWN or go to LawnDoctorCashValley.com.
Ah, that's better. Trade in the stresses of building a new home for relaxation. Visionary Homes Priority is giving you a stress-free building experience. Named the best home builder in northern Utah, Visionary Homes team will guide you seamlessly through the home building process. Call today, 435-228-4702, or visit visionaryhomes.com to learn more about upcoming communities in Nibley, Logan, and Smithfield. Visionary Homes, built for living, built for you.
As you know, there's a presidential election coming up just around the corner, in fact, which can be a very difficult day for the millions of us who just couldn't care less.
Welcome back to the For the People movie show with Andy Morgan, joining us here in the studio, talking a bit about Sonic the Hedgehog 2 in theaters here in Logan this week, starring Jim Carrey again, and in a bigger role this time, as I understand it. Andy, though, teasing before the news there something I didn't expect him to say, and that is that he enjoyed Michael Bay's Ambulance, but it's pronounced ambulance, right?
That's right.
Because they've highlighted that. So, okay, the description here of this Michael Bay film, short version, it sounds like this guy looking for money to pay his wife's medical bills, reaches out to his brother, who happens to be a dodgy but charismatic career criminal, and they decide upon a bank heist.
That's right.
$32 million.
Yeah, you nailed it.
Okay.
Well, there's a little bit...
Sounds Michael Bay-ish.
Well, and it sounds kind of straightforward, but there's a few other little things in there. But
we forgot Miami Vice.
No, that was
that's right.
Michael
That's
Mann. Yeah. So to your point, it's a guy. He's an Army vet. His wife needs to have some operation, and she can't. The insurance won't cover it. He's having problems with the VA, that type of thing, and his insurance, and so he goes to ask his brother, and it's not really his brother. So you learn out throughout the show that Jake Gyllenhaal's character, his dad took this guy in.
Okay,
and they were kind of just. I mean, they call each other brothers, but I don't think he was ever like officially adopted. Okay. And the dad, Jake Gyllenhaal, and this guy's dad he was a bank robber, notorious bank robber, and not only just notorious, but also like brutally violent as well. So this guy says, "Hey, Jake, can I get a loan?" And he's like, "How about this?
Like, I got a better idea.
We got a score that we're going to do right now in 30 minutes. You just happen to show up at the right time." And all the guys in the crew are like, "Who's this guy? We don't want some new guy with us. He's going to mess it up." Anyway, so they head off to go rob a bank. Again, like you said, millions and millions and millions of dollars. And it just so happens, and this is where it kind of gets a little bit funny, is there's two policemen that were just at the bank, and they leave, and the one policeman says, "Did you ask this girl out that you like there?" And he said, "No." And he says, "You're going to go back there and ask her right now." And he quotes a line from The Rock. He said, "Haven't you seen The Rock with Sean Connery?" And he says this, and I thought, and the other thing I thought was funny too, I don't know if anyone else picked this up, but the main character's name in the movie is William Sharp. And that was the name of the pilot in Armageddon. His name was Willie Sharp. So anyway, just kind of funny. They call him Will. Will,
like that.
Yeah. So yeah, they end up basically. Long story short, the bank, the robbery goes south. There were some cops, some SWAT, undercover like robbery specific undercover cops that were watching it. The FBI was watching it. Like, there's a lot of people there, and they end up hijacking this ambulance that has a police officer who got shot. It's actually the police officer that went back to get his date. And anyhow, and it's just them running all over the Los Angeles freeways, side streets, you name it. It's almost, if you think about Speed, where Sandra Bullock was driving all over L.A. in this bus, it's like that, but been driven by bad guys. It would be like if the bad guys were driving the bus in Speed. And then the cops are trying to decide, throughout the whole thing, like, do we push back? Do we pull, and introduces some new characters as the show goes on. But, really none of that's a huge importance to what the story is. The story is that it was just I just can't say nothing good about it. I would go see it again.
That is, it stars. I'm excited about this, but because I think it's cool. He goes by the letter A Martinez. He's the chief looking to open a casino, Jacob Nighthorse in Longmire.
Okay,
and he was in Cowboy Bebop, one of the voices. Did you ever watch Cowboy Bebop?
No.
That is a really cool space cowboy animated series on Netflix. And if that doesn't interest you, don't watch it. That description. But so I'm excited to see that he's in it. But it's got some good people in it.
It does. No, and you know what I liked about it as well is, again, love or hate Michael Bay, but he has these just crazy camera angles sometimes where he some people might not agree with this. I like action like this more than I like shaky cam stuff, like the Paul Greengrass. It's just I thought it was well done. It's not I can't give it an A necessarily, but it definitely is probably in the B plus range for me. It's one of those movies where
I'm surprised. I thought it would come in today and pan this one.
I thought so too, just because Michael Bay.
It's based on a book by a Swedish author. Lars Andreas Peterson.
There was actually a funny.
Pedersen.
I saw a funny tweet about that the other day. I need to find it. But somebody said something like Michael Bay remaking I think it was actually Scott Renshaw. I'll find the tweet on our next break. But it was actually really funny. It made
Girl
me laugh.
With a dragon tattoo.
It was something to the effect of the most Michael Bay of Michael Bayist things that could happen. So. Anyway, funny stuff.
Which kind of fits.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm a little bit of a Michael Bay apologist in terms of his filmmaking, not his character. But it's R-rated, just so everybody knows. So I
assume for violence.
Yeah, it's got some blood and violence. It's got some language.
Okay.
That's about it. There's no nudity or anything like that. So it's like
long.
Just kind of
2 hours and 15 minutes.
15.
Yeah,
that's in the window of time
with the Megaplex trailers and stuff.
You're 2 hours and 30,
3 hours. Yeah.
No, it was plucky. We got in and out, and I really enjoyed it. It seemed like a nice movie to kind of start kicking off this warmer weather. Weirdly,
it does feel a bit like a hey, welcome to summer movie season movie.
It does, and weirdly,
even though we're not quite there yet, right?
I know that we've been, I don't want to say out of the pandemic necessarily, but I know there's been big movies during the pandemic, like Spider-Man No Way Home and a few others. I've seen a lot of movies in the last 2 years, but what I want to point out here is this just kind of this was probably the first movie where I felt like it
felt
normal for me.
Makes sense.
So I highly recommend. I recommend it if you're looking for a good action movie. Maybe you're a little bit of a Michael Bay fan. Jake Gyllenhaal. It's a good movie.
Do you want to say anything about Morbius yet and the reaction to that, or are we going to hold that for?
We talked about that last week
because it's only gotten worse.
It's just been worse. I kind of feel bad for Jared Leto a little bit because he is a good actor. But just these high-profile, big tent projects that he
just
picks
aren't for him.
Like when he was the Joker in Suicide Squad, or he's, Morbius in this. It just is.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if that's, again, because they're not. Suicide Squad's DC, and this is like kind of Marvel, like in association with Marvel Pictures. But this is a Sony project, so
Sony, Kevin Feige, if Feige, whatever, if he's not there, it don't work.
Yeah,
there's something about his production skills, how he chooses directors, writers, everything.
I'm going to say this:
it works.
Marvel has got to be careful right now.
Yeah, because it can't last forever, right?
Well, it could, but if they start, things like this, where they have the partnership with Sony to bring Spider-Man over, if they do that, and they're like, hey, and then they want to do that with other superheroes that they don't have specific rights to themselves, I just don't know. Because I'll tell you, this Morbius, Venom is right on the fence. Like, you could go either way.
What's his face is the only thing that saves that.
Yeah. But this Morbius should serve as a warning shot to Marvel that they need to really they need to tighten things up a little bit. I feel like the Empire is expanding too fast.
Well, because they're in a position where you had Spider-Man, which came out, like, as you said, things weren't quite, for most people, back to normal yet. You had Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings come out in the middle of the pandemic. It was excellent. It deserved way more attention than it got. And now you're about to, the pandemic's winding down. We're going to have the most normal summer movie season that we've had since 2019.
Yeah.
And you're going to kick that off with The Magician. And it's not their fault. It's just timing, right? They didn't plan this out. They didn't know the pandemic was going to happen. The timeline on these films for Marvel was decided a decade ago. But really, you're going to kick it off. You're welcome back with probably the least successful of the Avengers.
I found this tweet about
The Magician.
This is from Scott Renshaw, the president of the Utah Film Critics Association, and he writes reviews for City Weekly. Shout out to Scott. This is a
very funny.
This is a funny tweet. Scott says, Michael Bay remaking an 80-minute Danish movie as a 136-minute movie is among the Michael Bayest things that has ever Michael Bayed.
That's perfect. I love that.
I thought that was funny.
I love it. All right, so if you're looking for something to see in theaters this weekend, Ambulance is new. It's playing here in Logan, both the stadium theaters. Andy endorses it. I haven't seen it. From last week, Andy gave a big thumbs up to The Lost City. I've seen it since. I would also say you will not regret your time on that movie. The chair scene, Channing Tatum carrying her ankle.
Yeah.
Well, Brad Pitt packs her in the chair. I honestly almost fell out of my chair laughing. Funny
good
movie.
Good chemistry. They have a good chemistry.
That was a good combination of people in a movie. And some surprises, too.
And Evil Harry Potter.
Evil Harry Potter, that actually worked. The beard didn't. I don't know why.
Well, did you see when they pulled up and that lady says, there's some like 11-year-old bearded guy on the beach? And I laughed.
I thought that was very funny. Also, I think that's the same cave from the movie where he plays a corpse. I really do.
It might be.
I think it is. I was going to look into that, and I forgot until now. But yeah, Lost City, definitely worth your time. Very, very funny. Ambulance in theaters. Andy said it's a good time. He enjoyed it. And
is this the week that with Harry Potter and the travesty of Gringle Crown or whatever it is?
Not in Logan, but I thought it was.
I thought this was the week for some reason. Maybe it's
I thought
next
it was
week.
too, but it's not here. So yeah, Eddie Redmayne and the Beasts in the Wilderness or something like that. We'll be back with more of the movie show right after this.
News Talk 610 AM, 102.1 FM, KVNU.
I don't know how else to say this, Dad, but here it goes. It's time for the famous West Motor Rodeo Day sale.
Wait a minute. What are you talking about, Taylor? Rodeo Days doesn't start until July.
New truck lots across the country are almost empty, right?
You're right.
But here at West Motor, business is booming. So how is West Motor selling so many trucks?
Most of our customers are ordering their truck exactly how they want it. So as soon as the truck hits the lot, they don't let us keep it there for everyone else to look at. They want to take it home. So the best way to buy a new truck during the famous West Motor Rodeo Day sale is to order it right now during Truck Month.
Now that's what I'm talking about.
Plus, trade-in values are at an all-time high. And in many cases, you can buy a brand new truck for less than a used one. We'll include our famous Rodeo Days discounts, a free lifetime warranty, and a free bed liner. Taylor, you're brilliant.
Call, click, or visit West Motor and order your new Ford or Ram truck today. WestMotorCompany.com.
Old Chicago Pizza is now Ruby's Pizzeria and Grill. No worries, Ruby's Pizzeria and Grill is serving all the same great food and still under the same ownership, just a new name. Ruby's Pizzeria and Grill is now open for lunch and dinner, where you'll continue to enjoy all your favorite pizzas, sandwiches, burgers, appetizers, and beer, along with some new mac and cheese flavors, fresh grilled chicken dishes, and juicy flame grilled steaks on the weekend. Ruby's Pizzeria and Grill, now open, 795 East, 1400 North in Logan.
Jessup Insurance and Retirement Services. Let us guide you.
Overwhelmed with Medicare questions? Jessup Insurance, at no cost to you, offers every plan available, guiding you through the entire process. Jessup Insurance is passionate about simplifying Medicare. Call Jessup Insurance, 435-213-3200, or Google Jessup Insurance.
Jessup Insurance and Retirement Services. Let us guide you.
Welcome back to the For the People movie show. It's Andy Morgan here in the studio. Thumbs up for Ambulance in theaters, the latest from Michael Bay. Last week, Andy talked about The Lost City. That's still in theaters here in Logan,
Thumbs
too.
up on that one.
Oh, so funny.
If you don't want to go out and you want to watch TV, if you have Apple TV Plus, is that the official title?
Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
Severance.
A lot of people talking about that this
really
week.
good.
Because it finished, right?
Season finale was just this other, just Thursday. I can't say, I'm not going to go too much into it, but the way I described it is, and this might be a little too obscure reference, but it's like if A24, known for their crazy horror movies, if they directed Office Space. That's kind of the way I describe it, because it really is. It's great, and it has probably one of the most tense season finales that I have seen in quite some time.
See, now I was so out of the loop on this one that my first exposure to Severance was a spoiler of the season finale on Twitter Thursday night. So I know what happens, and that intrigues me. It didn't actually make me not want to see it, knowing how it all wraps up. Made me want to see it more. So I plan to watch that.
The other one that we were mentioning before is I've watched the first, I think there's 3 episodes of Halo. I've played Halo since 2004. I think I've read all the books. I think Master Chief is just so cool.
One of the coolest game atmospheres, I think, ever.
Yeah, and love it or hate it, wherever you are, however you've been playing the games. The Paramount Plus series, there's some great things about it, but man, the CGI. The first couple episodes, I thought, okay.
I know.
I'm just gonna. It's okay. Maybe it's my TV.
The whole thing scares me about the upcoming Amazon Lord of the Rings series. I'm so worried now that they're going to.
They looks.
Here's a cartoon eagle,
and it's not every shot. Some shots, I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that. But I think I know it got renewed for season 2, so something's right with Halo, right?
Yeah,
but I'll be interested to see if there's improvements to the CGI in the second season, because the CGI so far has been one of the not great things.
What about the non-CGI?
Everything that's made physical, like the Spartan's armor, the warthogs,
looks pretty cool.
Yeah, very cool. I'm fine with it not like staying exactly with canon. If you haven't read the books, or this is not following the game very linear.
It's set in the same universe, right? That's about as close as it gets.
Yeah, if you get to I'm sure we'll hit that at one point, but there are some divergence from the game. So, but great stuff. Next week, I think we'll probably be talking about a couple different movies. Unfortunately, because of viewer demands, I will be giving you my review of Dumbledore's secret trunk of
Eddie Redmayne and the trunk of
Dumbledore's
mysterious flying
something. Secrets of Dumbledore. I know the name of the movie. It's Secrets of Dumbledore. We'll talk about it next week. You probably won't want to hear my review if you're a Harry Potter fan. Just kidding. I'm objective.
Have you liked any of these yet? The Beasts of the whatever? Okay. This is the third one, right?
And he shakes his head.
Because Eddie Redmayne's usually good stuff, and these haven't been so far.
Not to me.
Maybe it changes. We'll see.
Not to me.
All right. Come back next week for Andy just really going after the Harry Potter universe, apparently, is what I predict. We'll answer a listener's question. Listener wanted to know if you haven't followed this story, you're going to be very confused, but I don't have time to explain it. Listener wanted to know if Bruce Willis is being exploited by his staff. Google it. We'll talk about it next.